everyone, it's Jennifer from Yellow Brick Road Farm. I just thought I'd take you on a little tour through the cupboard to see how we're holding up this winter going into spring. So we know that we're about 5 months away from harvest right now, and of some things, we'll be able to harvest some earlier, but so I just thought I'd go shelf by shelf and show you where we're at this spring and some of the things that I plan to do differently. Just a short video, but one that will give you an idea of how we're preparing to be more self-sufficient again this year. So on the top shelf we have the tomato products, and those are a lot of whole tomatoes, and it takes a lot of whole tomatoes to go in one of those jars. I'm not joking, to make up, but one of those jars will last. It's basically the equivalent of two large cans of tomatoes, so I can get a lot of use. We go through about 2 of those a month. So moving on, we have a spaghetti sauce, which I made last year and canned up, and we're down to our last jar of that. But the beauty of having whole tomatoes is that you can make more. Spaghetti sauce, salsa, zucchini salsa, you can make a lot from just having whole tomatoes. So we've got that. Salsa 2020, that was from the salsa making workshop I hosted just a bit ago. I should say 2021. We have zucchini salsa and then some more zucchini salsa, and you can see the difference in the color, and that is because this was made last year and this was just canned up recently at the zucchini salsa workshop. So moving on, we have chow, and chow is a green tomato pickle. We eat that a lot here in Nova Scotia with fish cakes and with other, sort of mashed potatoes and meat and things like that. So we are big chow lovers, and I canned up quite a bit of that this year and was able to sell a bunch in farm baskets that I sell at Christmas time. So we're down to our last 2 jars there. Pear sauce, that was lovely. We were able to have an abundance of pears from a local farmer, and we were able to put up a lot of pear sauce and a lot of jarred pears. So we're down to our last jar of pear sauce though. Bread and butter. That's a bread and butter pickle, and we use that a lot. We chop it up, put it in salads, we use it on burgers. We often use that as a side dish, and I'm pretty good for that. We go through one of these large jars in a month. So zucchini relish, we eat that a lot with on burgers and with salmon. So yes, and fish. Moving into jams and jellies, we have raspberry jam. You can see this one I was getting ready to gift to someone, so I kind of jazz it up a little bit. Otherwise, all my jars are stored without rings, and that is for safety. It allows you to see that if there's a false seal or not. So once you're done processing your jars, you let them sit for 24 hours, and then you take the rings off and then put them on the shelf. So you're technically not even supposed to stack your jars, but we have a small house, so that's, I do what I can. This is red pepper jelly, and this is one of our favorite jellies to have as a snack and to put in with like meatballs for glaze, anything like that. Rhubarb, we're down to our last 2 jars of rhubarb, and we mix that in with yogurt. I use that in dishes like strawberry rhubarb pie, strawberry rhubarb crisp, things like that. I also make a rhubarb barbecue sauce out of that. So rhubarb is going to be coming up shortly. We will have a rhubarb harvest probably early May around then, so that will be great to have some more fresh rhubarb. We've ginger pear jam, and that was a labor of love. Remember those pears I talked about? Well, ginger pear jam takes a lot of pears. So we basically got 2 jars. I gifted one to my best friend who is a jam connoisseur. She loves different jams, so I gave one to her for her birthday, and we've kept the other ones. So, and I had a half jar in the fridge. So, but that was kind of a labor of love. So we're gonna make that last. Peach jam. I always make a lot of peach jam every year. We get our peaches up in the valley from Noggin's Farm Market. We don't grow them here on the homestead, but we do have pear trees in for next year. So I'm really excited to see those come to fruition and have our own pear harvest this year. So we have blueberry jam, and blueberry jam, we of course have local berries here from Wild Berries Farm in Clyde, as well as from Goodness, Jackson Lorraine's farm, and we get our strawberries from Jackson as well. So, you know, when you have a small acreage, you tend to concentrate on the things that you're going to eat the most of, and you kind of want to have control over the harvest. Jackson does a beautiful job of growing blueberries and strawberries, as does Laura, does a beautiful job of wild blueberries. So we just basically glean from them. So moving on to some dried goods now, we have dried scarlet runner beans, and those will be used for planting again this year. I didn't have a great harvest last year of dried beans, so that is going to be something that I'd like to work on this year. So we could have some dried beans. Lemon balm oil, I'm good for that. We have some dandelion oil back there. We use those in soaps and salves and lip chat. So those are more for that. You can see I am out of a lot of herbs. I'm out of tarragon. I'm out of dried chives. I'm out of, what's this one? Thyme. No joke, right? Who isn't out of thyme? Excuse me. This is a mystery herb. You know, when you forget to label something, I dehydrated it, forgot to label it, and now I'm spent sitting here thinking, what was that again? I believe it is parsley. Anyway, lemon verbena, that is used, that was gifted to me from the Malones. Hi, Malones. I know you're watching. You're always so faithful at that. That was gifted to me from them, and that is lovely in tea. So they gave me a huge plant this year and some seeds, and I was able to plant and harvest quite a bit of lemon verbena. So we have dried basil there, and in the back I have some dried spearmint and mint, and I dry a lot of spearmint and mint. I use it in teas, but I also use it in my bath. So chive blossom vinegar, I was just telling the girls the other day that we need to use this up, because this is, we will get some chive blossoms here in probably about another month again. Well, maybe about a month and a half. So basically I have put these in. It's very pretty. Anyway, we use that in salad dressings, and I use that in anywhere that it calls for regular vinegar that would be appropriate to have like an oniony flavor. SunDried tomatoes. We used some of our heirloom tomatoes last year and dehydrated those, and basically we'll use those to reconstitute when it calls for anything like I don't want a lot of water in, so I want like a drier tomato. Dried apple chips, dried strawberries, dried cherries, and dried cranberries are all back there, and that is basically the things that I use a lot of for dried fruit, and we use those in scones and muffins, and sometimes just to eat, like the dried apple chips we'll just take in the car with us and things like that. So vanilla. So this isn't something that I've technically canned, pressure canned or water bath, but we have a resource of Madagascar vanilla beans in good old Woods Harbor, which is so funny. Everybody's like, what, really? We do. So yeah, Atlantic vanilla, they have a Tahina, lives in Woods Harbor, and he hooks me up with some vanilla beans. Locally, you can also buy them at DTC Natural Store, and then we just put a quart of vodka in there and let them set. Sorry, we had a little glitch there. Moving on to some beets. So those were pressure canned. Those were fresh beets that were, we just hot packed them last year and pressure canned them. And we're good for those. We've got 3 left, and that will get us to our next beet harvest. Bean salad, we eat a lot of that, and we're down to 3 jars of that, so that will take us till beet. You know, we're about on track. I mean, you know, there's not going to be a glut of anything, I think, except for when we get down to one of the other relishes. Pickled gold beets, we eat a lot of pickled beets as well. You know, pickles are great for, like, you know, ferment, you know, and that probiotics in your belly, you know, they're great as long as they don't have a lot of sugar. You want to make sure that they're just, like, you know, very lightly flavored, and that you have with sugar, and that you have a lot of you know, vinegar and ferment in there, and it's really good for your gut health. Applesauce. So we're down to our last jar of that. Actually, we needed way more of that than we had, so I'll know that next year I need to double that up, because we have lots of little children visiting, little grandkids, and they like applesauce. So peaches, pears, those were down to our last 3 jars of each of those, and we eat those as desserts or just a snack. So those are lovely. They're just packed in a light juice. Mustard pickles, so that's everybody's favorite. They are highly sought after. They are cucumbers, and it's done like in a mustard sauce and very flavorful. Use sparingly, so we've got enough definitely to last us. If not, you know, I would probably make just a small batch this year. The best thing about making bigger batches, if I do have a cucumber harvest, is that I can sell the extra, and then I am able to recoup some of the seed costs and things like that. So cranberry sauce, was able to get a whack of local cranberries, and was able to can those up, made a sauce out of those. That's how we eat those most frequently, and I do have some in the freezer for baking. So, cucumber relish, yeah, I have a lot of this. I'm not sure what. I just had a gluttony of cucumbers last year. I was able to have a very, very good harvest of cucumbers last year. We had laundry baskets and laundry baskets full, so made some cucumber relish. This will last us for a while. We use that on sandwiches, mix it in with tuna, things like that. Pickled beets, that is another kind of pickled beets. So I had pickled gold beets, and then I had pickled just beets that my father calls just good old plain beets, please. So, and if you know my father, you can hear him saying it in that voice, you know, can't we just have plain beets, plain pickled beets? So that's, he doesn't want anything fancy. He just likes his plain old pickled beets. So we have some fermented cabbage. So basically a sauerkraut that we made in a crock, and fermented that, and then we canned it. You lose some of the benefits of the fermentation by doing that, but basically we have a smaller house, and I just didn't really feel comfortable keeping the sauerkraut going. It really smells. So just a heads up, if you don't have a space to keep it in, you know, or a cold room or a cold storage, then yeah, it's probably not, you know, it's probably best kept into jars. So we have carrots, pressure canned carrots, and we're down to 4 jars of those, so we need a carrot harvest ASAP. We have some a couple of jars of beans left, and a couple jars of yellow beans left, so we are definitely getting near the end. I do have some frozen, so we'll just move on to those after that, but they're not as good as these canned up. I'm serious, they aren't. Some dried apple banana chips. Those are just things that I do up if I notice something might be going a little to the wayside. Eggshells, and those are for the garden. That's for slug control, and also we grind them up for powder for extra calcium for the tomato plants. We have salsa verde, and we use that with chicken, pork, anything like that. It's great with tacos. You just toss it in the pan and heat it up on your, and it makes a wonderful coating for your tacos. Beet relish. So that is it. That is the last of our beet relish, and this is one of our absolute favorites. We go through that about a jar every week. So anyway, that is the canning cupboard. So I hope you enjoyed that little tour. Of course, we put up lots of food other ways, but this seems to always just, you know, sort of be the way that people want to know the most of, and what we put up, and what there is. So we have run out of a few things that aren't on the shelf, and I couldn't remember them right off the top of my head, but as we go through the year, I'll try to remember to pop some videos in to chat about that. So anyway, take care everyone, have a great day.